I see my name in shining lights. Yeah, a different city every night. Oh, I swear the world better prepare for when I'm a billionaire.
It's time to get down to business on the weekend's #1 business program. Known as the King of Networking, your host Shalom Klein has worked with thousands of entrepreneurs and created countless jobs. So, to success. Let's get down to business.
And indeed, we're all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship and business. We talk a lot about business here. You are on with Get Down to Business, and I'm your host, Shalom Klein. Remember, you can always download podcasts from Get Down to Business on my website at shalomklein.com. And while you're there, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Shalom Klein. It's going to be a jam-packed week of content and information you will not want to miss, so let's jump right into it. I'm actually thrilled to kick off the program with Anna-Marie Kukec Tomczyk, who has a absolutely fascinating background. Let's get started because I'm excited to hear about the new book and where you got the title. Anna-Marie, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anna-Marie, I hear that you have been a journalist for local and major publications. Can you share some of your background with our audience?
Oh, that's fine. In fact, a lot of people in the area may remember me more recently with the Daily Herald. I was a business writer for them for roughly about 17 years. And before that, though, I started out at the Daily Southtown for a lot of years on the south suburbs and covered a lot of things out there. And then went to the American Bar Association and wrote for their publications, and also for the Illinois Attorney General's office, which is really great because not only did it give me insight onto what a journalist really should be asking and wasn't, and then going back into reporting with the Daily Herald and some other publications later on. I left the Daily Herald back in 2017. I decided to quit, which I know a lot of journalists these days probably thought was crazy, but there were a few things that started or happened in my life at the time where I began thinking about, that so-called bucket list and other things that I just wanted to get to. My husband and I had taken care of his mother for a number of years until she passed away from Alzheimer's. And then my dad, same situation where we took care of my dad for a number of years until he passed away from dementia and other illnesses. And then suddenly one of my brothers passed away. And, it just really makes you think about what's important in your life and whether or not you want to do other things where you can make an impact in some way. So after discussion with my husband, we thought it would be okay, decided to quit the Daily Herald and did some freelance writing on the side where I had some articles appear in the U.S. News and World Report and the ABA Journal and some other publications, and decided to write a book and wanted to focus on a couple of different areas where I thought it might make an impact. And I talked with Sister Beth Murphy. She's with the Springfield Dominican Sisters in Springfield, Illinois. And I've known her for a number of years because back in the 1990s, I was a Dominican associate. And I was doing that for 2 years and decided to move on and go further into journalism at that time. But I kept in touch with the sisters over the years. And back in 2017, I talked with Sister Beth, telling her I wanted to do a book. And I thought some of the missions that they do would be fascinating. And so she had mentioned this one in Aurora, which basically is right in our backyard. And very few people seem to know about it outside a circle of immigrants that had attended the Dominican Literacy Center. So that's how I got the idea for the book. When I went over there, I talked to Sister Kathleen Ryan, who was the founder, and she put me in touch with some other people, both at their center in Aurora and another in Melrose Park, and talked with them, and then started talking to a lot of students, or former students. And I wanted to reach the very first student, the very first woman who started learning to speak English at the center in Aurora. And so we reached her, and she agreed to talk with me. In fact, I talked with a lot of these women a number of times, and it just seemed fascinating to find out what started their journey to the United States and what finally made them come to the center and finally learn how to speak English and fit more into their local society, since they decided to stay and they all went on the path to U.S. citizenship. So it was a fascinating background on that.
No, I appreciate the background very much. Again, I'm chatting with Anna Marie Kukec Tomczyk, the author of a new book and really, really interesting background about where sort of your career history, but then also obviously how it led to the book. So what is your favorite story in the book? Well, let's start with what is the title of the book, because I know people will want to find it online. And what's your favorite story in the book and the key takeaways?
Well, the title is We Are Eagles, and the subtitle is Inspiring Stories of Immigrant Women Who Took Bold Steps in Life Through Literacy. And, it focuses on 5 Latinas because it happened to be at the time when the center started that it was mostly people coming in from Mexico that attended the center. Today, though, after more than 25 years, the center has accommodated and worked with immigrants from 30 different countries. So it's a variety of people that have walked through that doorway. But I got the title actually from one of the main women in the book. Her name was Maribel. Her daughter seemed just so excited that her mother finally, even at a later age, learned how to drive, got a used car, and they felt like now they didn't have to depend on anyone at any time to get them where they needed to go. They could go anywhere. And so the little girl was really happy and said, we are like eagles. And Maribel said, yes, we are eagles. And so that's basically how I got the title of the book. And the women that I talked with, the 5 main women, they all seem to have a different story to tell. They all, one woman, like, for example, Maribel, one of the main ones, she was abused terribly by her husband, so much so that she eventually escaped with her daughter. Her daughter was about 5 years old at the time, and had some help through some domestic violence shelter and some other people that helped her out. And eventually, her life, she became from someone who was a domestic violence victim to a survivor. And then later on, she went from, once she learned how to speak English, she got better jobs, she saved money, she was able to get her first home, first savings account, everything, and obviously her first mortgage. But later on, she opened up her own business, which is still in existence in South End of Naperville. And she eventually ran the Chicago Marathon. So that's more of the dramatic end. But like the first woman, Juanita, she escaped some tormentors, some men that threatened to rape her. And so they stalked her constantly until she had help from her family to escape there and ended up coming to a relative here in the Chicago area. So, and other women had other stories to tell. In fact, one woman, Blanca, many people could relate to her. She was a woman who had a job for 20 years in America. She became a citizen, she raised a family, and she became a supervisor. And then one day walked into her business, and the company that owned them decided to farm out their services as housekeeping and laid off her and the entire staff. How many people have recognized that, no matter what ethnic heritage they are? They've all experienced some way where they walked into their company and found out there were going to be mass layoffs. So she overcame that. She was like 61 years old. So she decided to sign the separation papers, but then she started doing some other things too. So it was
Anna Marie. I have to stop you there because I want to make sure we're coming to the end of our conversation. I want to make sure our listeners know where they can get a copy of the book and continue to support the important work of the center. Where can people learn more and pick up a copy?
Well, the book is available on paperback and ebook on Amazon in the book section. And the center itself, one is located in Aurora, Illinois, and the other is in Melrose Park. And they're open to just about anybody who's able to come in and is willing to learn how to speak and write and talk in English. So the centers are still operated by the Dominican Sisters of Springfield, and they've been able to work with a variety of people.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fantastic, and I do hope that people will come out and show their support and certainly pick up a copy of the book. But Anna Marie Kukec, Tomczyk, thank you so much for joining us on the air, sharing your unique background, your unique experiences led to the writing of the book. I do hope that people will pick up a copy. We'll link to it in the show notes and on the website. But again, thanks so much for joining us here on Get Down to Business. We're going to squeeze in a quick break. More small business jobs and entrepreneurship when we return.